Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, going to go over a story titled Explicit Video Divorce. And guys, this whole story is about a guy who'd been married for 15 years, and he thought everything was great in his marriage. He has the 2 kids, everything's good between he and the wife, the whole 9 yards. And then one day he started to notice very suspicious behavior on her part. She started really guarding her phone all the time. She started getting off the phone immediately when he'd come in the room. Lots of strange things, just simply wasn't her behavior. So one day when she went away, for a girls' night, it's always those girls' nights, he decided to follow her, and you're going to see what he discovered. And ultimately, yes, she's having a thing going on with some other married guy. And instead of just losing his mind over this guy plots the definite, not only does he plot revenge on her and the guy that is cheating on her with, but also a way to secure that he makes out well in the divorce, okay? And you're going to see how he does it. And it's definitely interesting and creative, okay? Very entertaining story. But again, guys, it goes to show you that you can have guys that are in a marriage, you think everything's cool, everything's great, and you're going to see that that's just his mindset here. And then after 15 years of marriage, and boom, lo and behold, you see what's going on. And believe me, she disrespects this guy on multiple levels, but definitely justice is served in the end. And it's nice to see that people that are just complete jackasses get what's coming to them in life. And it's a good warning to guys out there that may watch this and think it's a good idea to go and have a fling with some other guy's wife or some other guy's girlfriend, because you never know, it can come back to bite you in the ass. So it starts off. So this little story begins with me and my wife happily married. Yeah, sure. We had 2 wonderful daughters, 13 and 10, and a pretty healthy relationship, or so I thought. Anyways, at some point, things started to appear off. She got very clingy to her phone all of a sudden, made sure to delete the save password feature on our common personal computer, started having phone calls that suddenly ended when I came into the room/house. You can probably guess what it was. Now, having 15 years of marriage behind us, I was hoping it wasn't what it obviously seemed to be. Guys, the old phone thing is dead on. I mean, the guarding of the phone and always making sure that it's face down, this little secret conversations, the getting off the phone immediately when the dude comes in. I mean, all these things are classic things. And it goes both ways, guys. It can be with both men and women. It's the little things that add up. When something seems off, guys, when your gut tells you something doesn't seem right, listen to your gut. Pay attention to the red flags. So one day, when she told me she was going to spend some time with the girls, I decided to follow her. Sure enough, I find her driving to a hotel to meet with. Let's just call him, I'm going to refer to him, guys, as P, because P is actually a code for something else, a part of the guy down south. I want to keep it clean, keep YouTube happy here. To say it was a gut punch was an understatement. I literally cried for an hour straight. After I was done with my wallowing phase, I decided the best course of action was getting even. I thought of several scenarios that may or may not have involved me beating P into a bloody pulp. Eventually, I decided to only do things more civilly and more importantly legally, but only just. Yeah, as much as he would have, in my book, every right to beat the crap out of this dude for what he was doing with his wife, that's not going to help him down the road. This guy obviously gets arrested doing this and gets a criminal record. That's not going to help him very much with the family courts and the divorce process, because ultimately this guy wants to have custody of his daughters. So as much as it, in my book, is warranted to do that, best to play things legally. And believe me, he gets him back way better than just a simple ass kicking. So the first part of my plan was gathering evidence. I could have just gotten a PI, but I had something better in mind. So one day, when my wife was at her job and the kids at school, I installed some small secret cameras and microphones that I had bought. Due to the setup of our bedroom, I even managed to get one perfectly overlooking the bed. I didn't, however, use them while I was at home. So this guy's assuming that she's doing her dirty deeds when he's not around in his own house. I mean, it's bad enough that she's cheating on with some other dude, but the fact that this could be going on in his own house, in his own bed, it's horrible. So a couple of days pass when I proposed to my wife that the second to next weekend I should take the girls on a trip and at a site that I will not reveal, and stay a night or 2. At this point, I should also mention that due to her job being pretty demanding and frequently exhausting her, and just due to our various passions and talent, I was always the main caregiver. I more often than not was the one cooking. I took far more active role in raising the girls and showed them a lot more patience and attention. He says in parentheses, I didn't spoil them or anything like that. So me going alone with the girls on a trip wasn't that weird. This part will also be important later. So 2 weeks pass, in which time I get my affairs in order and contact a lawyer to write up a separation agreement that would involve me keeping residence and custody. Throat's a little dry this morning, guys. Bear with me. Very smart. Speak with the lawyer, get a document signed up for him getting full custody and also getting the residence. But the question is, how does he know he's going to get that? How does he know that he's going to get those type of things that he wants? Well, you're going to see what happens that ensures he gets what he wants. So I go on the trip, and I try not to give anything away to the girls and wait and see if P and my wife fall into the trap. When I returned, I checked the recordings of the weekend, and sure enough, it is a 36-hour F-fest. When they weren't effing, the dialogue was something even better. I found out that P had a wife, though more on her later. But even worse, they also talked about me. And besides the obvious S-word character assassination that I expected about how small my you-know-what was, how I didn't satisfy her, etc., there was some really hurtful stuff, like her telling P some of my deepest secrets and shameful stories that I had only told her about, just so they could have a laugh. That's awful. I mean, number one, it's awful that she's cheating on this guy after 15 years of marriage and he thinks everything's great. It's especially even more awful that she's doing this in his own house, in his own bed. But even worse is she's talking crap about him, telling this guy things about him, his personal life, his secrets, and all that stuff that only she's supposed to know in confidence. And they're laughing about him. So believe me, she's going to get everything she deserves in the end. And wait till you see how she reacts to all this. So at this point, I didn't have any doubts on what to do. The next day, when the kids left, before my wife left, I confronted her with the video and told her that either she signs a separation agreement and leaves the house, or the girls are going to receive an in-depth explanation of all the orifices Mommy got effed in. And now he says, I wasn't going to tell them that, just to be clear. I love my daughters too much, but I put that threat there, and she was way too emotional to realize my bluff. She went through all the stages, denying everything, trying to bargain, threatening me, and getting angry. I let her go through all that stuff. Eventually, she signed the paper, and she departed that very evening, and she said goodbye to the girls. Damn, talk about a good plan. I mean, that must have been hell, him having to obviously look at those videos and have all that, but it's what he had to do to get what he wanted, and sure enough, he did. Story continues on. I didn't show or tell the girls anything graphic. I was always very honest with them, which is another reason why I was always the favorite parent. So I just said that Mommy had been unfaithful. The younger, she took some time figuring it out, but that was made up by my older getting mightily upset. She had just gotten her first boyfriend, and I'm not sure the term really applies at that age, but she knew enough of the world to get pissed off big time. This would be important at a would-be custody battle, as she did for the moment, agreed to give over custody. I feared, and I was right to fear, that she would try to fight for me to get the kids. What I didn't expect was for her to use her visitation rights to talk shit about me. Basically, she started telling my younger daughter about how it was all my fault for not forgiving her. Oh, okay, so basically the mom has been doing her dirty deed for Lord knows how long with her lover, a married guy, I might add. So not only is one family being ruined, but another one. She's also doing it in the house, in the bed, and talking all this trash. And it's the husband's fault that they're getting the divorce. She's blaming him for not forgiving her. Low, very low. Her lawyer even started demanding that she receive custody. And he says, in parentheses, there was no way for her to receive money or the house, as she was caught cheating in my state, and that means quite a lot in the divorce proceedings. So I finally activated my nuclear revenge plan. I'd like to know what state this guy's from. He says here, enter the trip to South Carolina. Why South Carolina? Simple. Fort Sumter. I really wanted my daughters to see it. I definitely did not go there because it was one of the last places where revenge, you know what, starts with a P, ends with an N, isn't illegal. and where I could upload my wife and P's escapades with no worries on you-know-what hub. And other such sites, as you cannot be prosecuted for crimes that weren't illegal when and where they were committed. That's interesting. That revenge, you-know-what, that starts with a P, isn't illegal there in South Carolina. Now, I forgot to check to see how old this story is. I don't think it's that old, but that's interesting. It will be illegal there one day. He says, I then sent the links. He uploaded the video and all that to you-know-what hub. And he says, I sent the links to my wife's employer, her clients, and everybody in her line of work just to be sure. To P's wife and his firm. P soon got a divorce. I feel sorry for his wife as she was an innocent victim in all this. But I think it's better that she found out. Yeah, I mean, that really does suck, but ultimately, I guarantee you she'd want to know. Guaranteed. But damn, this guy is, to her work, clients, all that, she shouldn't have pushed too far. She should have had her lawyer mess around and demand custody and make things difficult for him. She had her shot. He says, as for my wife, there was the end. As for my wife, this was the end of any chance to get custody. She soon got fired from her job of 8 years. And while the revenge, you-know-what part was a real D move that did count in court, it being done in South Carolina, it wasn't illegal or prosecutorable, so it could only be used as a minus about my personality. But with my wife unemployed and practically being blacklisted in her profession due to being on you-know-what hub, as well as the girls, or to put it better, my younger being told what to do by my older, stating they wanted to stay with me, there was no question on who would get the custody. This is great. Yes, due to her being unemployed, I got no alimony. But honestly, I make enough money to sustain both me and the girls, so I don't care. And I'm good enough at caring for them, and they are old enough to allow me to have a full-time job. Hey, if he makes enough money on his own, it's like, hey, he probably just, that's it. I don't have to deal with her. Even if it means getting a check in the mail every month. I mean, I'm sure that would be nice to get that check in the mail every month from her for the alimony. But, hey, at the end of the day, he got the house. He got full custody of the girls. Obviously, the divorce terms are going to be on his terms. He got ultimate revenge on her, her lover, all that. And she's shit out of luck. Several months later, my wife is still unemployed, though I do not know if it's from the you-know-what or from the virus. The girls are growing up just fine and don't seem to mind not seeing their B-word of a mother. The last time I communicated with my ex-wife was on Facebook, where she told me how I ruined her life and her relation to her daughters. But honestly, I think she earned it. Yeah, she did earn it. And again, the twisting around blame. Okay? This guy was a good husband. He thought everything was great, and then lo and behold, what she was doing. And it doesn't say here how long this affair was going on, but obviously for long enough time. And the fact that it was with another married guy, he didn't care about this guy's family. That's what I tell you guys. I mean, for those of you guys who dating and pick up and hook up and all that, do not get involved with some other guy's girl, whether it's a wife, fiance, or girlfriend. That is not cool. There are guys that do channels like mine, as some say, who care about that. It's not cool. Seriously. And eventually the karma will come around to bite you in the ass. Do not knowingly hook up with some other guy's girl. That is just not cool. There's plenty of other women out there, guys. I don't care how hot she is. I don't care how hot her body is. Don't do it knowingly. Now, sometimes the girl doesn't tell the guy and he doesn't know, so that's a different ballgame. But willingly doing it, and when you know, not cool. But anyhow, I just love how in the end she's twisting around. He's the reason that her life is ruined. She's the one that did that. She is the one that was cheating for Lord knows how long. She's the one that in his own bed. She is the one that's talking about all these horrible things about him and revealing his deepest secrets. I mean, come on here. But you know about the old joke about women and accountability. So, but that doesn't surprise me in the least. But anyhow, talk about a revenge story here. But I'm really glad, aside from the entertainment factor of this, I'm really glad this guy was able to walk away on these terms. Now, if he was in a no-fault divorce state, I think obviously it'd be a very different situation, obviously. But fortunately, he's not living in a state like that. I'd be very curious to see what would happen with him uploading that stuff to you-know-what hub, if that does come back to bite him in the butt one day. Who knows? But anyhow, entertaining story there. So, all right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.